I was arranging flowers in the kitchen when my phone rang. The number was unfamiliar, but something made me answer. A woman's voice, clinical and distant, spoke words that shattered my world into pieces I'd never be able to put back together. "Mr. Morrison, this is Dr. Patel from Toronto General Hospital. I'm calling about your wife, Margaret. I'm very sorry, but she suffered a massive heart attack approximately 40 minutes ago. We did everything we could, but she didn't make it. I'm so sorry for your loss." The vase slipped from my hands, water and roses spreading across the hardwood floor my wife had insisted on refinishing last spring. Margaret. My Margaret of 42 years. Gone. That's impossible, I heard myself say. She went to her book club this morning. She was fine. She was laughing about something her friend Carol said about. "I understand this is incredibly difficult, Mr. Morrison. Is there someone who can drive you to the hospital? You shouldn't be alone right now." I don't remember hanging up. I don't remember calling our daughter Emma, leaving a voicemail when she didn't answer. I don't remember the drive to the hospital, though I must have made it because I found myself standing in a sterile hallway, a young resident with kind eyes leading me to a room where my wife lay under a white sheet. She looked peaceful. That's what everyone would say at the funeral. I knew. She looked so peaceful. But Margaret was never peaceful. She was fire and motion and laughter that filled every corner of our home in Oakville. This pale, still thing under fluorescent lights wasn't my wife. It couldn't be. "We'll need you to identify her formally," the resident said softly. "And there are some papers to sign. Take your time." Time. As if time meant anything anymore. I tried Emma again. Voicemail. I tried her work number. Voicemail. I sent a text. "Your mother is gone. Please call me." The dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, what? What happened? I called her immediately. She answered on the first ring, and I could hear music in the background, voices laughing. "Emma, your mother had a heart attack. She's gone, sweetheart. I'm at Toronto General right now." Silence. Then, "Oh my God, Dad, when did this happen?" "This morning, around 10. Where are you? Can you come to the hospital?" More silence. The music got louder for a moment, then muffled, like she'd moved to a quieter room. "Dad, I'm in Montreal. Remember? I told you last week. Ryan and I are here for his company retreat. We just got here yesterday." Ryan. Her husband of 3 years. I'd never warmed to him, though I'd tried for Emma's sake. Something about the way he looked at his phone during family dinners, the way he'd grip Emma's elbow a bit too tight when steering her away from conversations he deemed unimportant. "Can you fly back?" "Your mother's." "Emma, I need you here." Of course, Dad. Let me talk to Ryan and we'll figure out the first flight. I'll call you back in 20 minutes, okay? I love you." The line went dead. 20 minutes became 2 hours. I sat in the hospital chapel, my phone face up on the pew beside me, willing it to ring. Other families came and went, some crying, some laughing with relief. The chaplain asked if I needed anything. I shook my head. Finally, Emma called back. "Dad, I'm so sorry it took so long. The airline situation is crazy right now. There's a massive storm system over Ontario. All flights are grounded until tomorrow afternoon at the earliest. But I'll be on the first plane out, I promise." "How are you holding up?" I wasn't holding up. I was drowning. But I said, "I'm managing. The funeral home needs decisions. Your mother's sister is flying in from Vancouver. I need help, Emma." "I know, Dad. I'm sorry. Look, do what you think Mom would want. You knew her better than anyone. I trust you." Trust. The word felt hollow. The next 3 days were a blur of phone calls and paperwork and sympathetic head tilts from people I barely knew. Margaret's book club brought casseroles. Our neighbors, the Patels, offered to help with the lawn. Everyone asked about Emma. "She's in Montreal," I'd say, "flying in tomorrow." But tomorrow kept not coming. The first excuse was the storm. Fair enough. Then it was Ryan's food poisoning. Then their dog walker canceled, and they couldn't leave their golden retriever alone. Each excuse arrived via text. Never a phone call where I might hear the guilt in her voice. The funeral was set for Saturday, 4 days after Margaret's death. Emma promised she'd be there. Swore it. Saturday morning, I stood in our bedroom, fumbling with my tie. Margaret used to do this for me. 42 years of her fingers, gently adjusting the knot, smoothing my collar, telling me I looked handsome even when my hair started graying and my waistline expanded. My phone buzzed. Emma. Dad, I'm so sorry. Ryan came down with the same bug and we're both really sick. I can barely leave the bathroom. There's no way I can get on a plane like this. I'm devastated. Please tell everyone I love them and I'm thinking about Mom. I read the message 3 times. The funeral started in 90 minutes. My hands shook as I typed back. This is your mother's funeral. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. I know, Dad. I feel horrible. But I'm literally sick. What do you want me to do? What did I want? I wanted my daughter at her mother's funeral. I wanted her to put down her phone and her excuses and be present for the woman who'd given her life. But what I typed was, feel better. The funeral was small, but dignified. Margaret's sister Sandra sat beside me in the front pew, her hand occasionally squeezing mine. Margaret's book club filled 2 rows. Some of my old colleagues from the accounting firm came. Our neighbor's teenage son played guitar, something Margaret would have loved. And through it all, people asked, "Where's Emma?" "She's ill," I'd say. "In Montreal. She wanted to be here." I believed it, at first. I had to. The alternative was too painful. The reception was held at our house. Sandra helped me set out the food people had brought. As I was carrying a tray of sandwiches to the dining room, I heard Carol from Margaret's book club talking to another woman in the kitchen. "Did you see Emma's Instagram? Posted 2 hours ago." My blood turned to ice. "The daughter? The one who couldn't make it?" "That's the one. She's at some resort in Mont-Tremblant. Pool, selfies, champagne, the works. Can you imagine? Her mother's funeral is happening and she's posting vacation photos?" I set the tray down carefully, afraid I might drop it. Pulled out my phone with trembling fingers. I didn't follow Emma on Instagram. Social media had always confused me, but Margaret did. I logged into Margaret's account. The password was still saved. Emma Joy 1999. Our daughter's name and birth year. Emma's latest post loaded, and the room spun. There she was, golden and glowing in a black bikini, martini in hand, perched on the edge of an infinity pool, with mountains in the background. Ryan beside her, arm around her waist, both of them laughing at something off camera. The caption, "Sometimes you just need to disconnect and recharge." Grateful for this amazing surprise getaway. Number, blessed. Number, Mont-Tremblant. Number, living my best life. Posted 45 minutes ago, while I was eulogizing her mother. The comments rolled in. Friends congratulating her on the vacation. Someone asking if this was for her birthday. Emma responding with heart emojis, and Ryan spoils me. Not a single mention of Margaret. Not one word about loss, or grief, or family. I locked my phone and slipped it into my pocket. Pasted on a smile. Accepted condolences. Thanked people for coming. All while my chest felt like it was caving in. That night, after everyone left and Sandra went to her hotel, I sat in Margaret's chair, the one by the window, where she'd read every evening, and I called Emma. She answered, sounding breathless and happy. Music thumped in the background. "Hey, Dad. How are you? How was everything?" "You tell me," I said quietly. "How was the pool?" Silence. The music continued, someone laughing, glasses clinking. "What?" "Mont-Tremblant, the resort, the champagne. How was it, Emma?" More silence. Then, "Dad, I can explain. You posted photos of yourself in a bikini drinking champagne while I was burying your mother. Dad, you don't understand. Ryan surprised me with this trip before we knew about Mom, and the resort has a strict no-refund policy, and we'd already paid for. Your mother is dead, Emma." "I know that. God, you think I don't know that? But me being miserable at a funeral wasn't going to bring her back. And I am sick. I have a cold. Ryan thought some sun might help, and I hung up." She called back immediately. I didn't answer. She called 7 more times. Each time, I stared at her name on the screen. My baby girl, the child Margaret and I had prayed for, struggled for, loved beyond measure, and I let it ring. Finally, a text. I know you're angry, but you're being unreasonable. I'm grieving too. Just in my own way. I'll call you when you've calmed down. I deleted it. The next week passed in a fog. Sandra stayed a few extra days, but she had to get back to Vancouver, back to her own life. I was alone in the house, surrounded by Margaret's things, her absence screaming from every corner. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, spent hours going through photo albums, watching home videos of Emma as a child so bright, so full of joy and promise. Where had I lost her? When had she become this stranger who valued Instagram likes over her own mother? On the 8th day after Margaret's death, I received a call from Jennifer Kim, Margaret's lawyer and longtime friend. Robert, I'm so sorry for your loss. I know this is a difficult time, but we need to schedule a reading of Margaret's will. Are you available this Thursday at 2? Will? Margaret had a will? She updated it about 6 months ago. Didn't she tell you? No. No. Oh, well, yes, she did. And she specified that both you and Emma need to be present for the reading. Is Emma back in Toronto? Emma is in Montreal, I said flatly. She didn't come to the funeral. A long pause. I see. Well, the will specifies she must be present. It's rather important. Do you think you could ask her to come? I almost laughed. I can ask. I texted Emma. Mom's lawyer needs us both for the will reading. Thursday at 2 p.m. Her office is on Bay Street. The response was immediate. Can't make it. Ryan and I are extending our trip. Can she just email me whatever I need to sign? I forwarded the message to Jennifer. She called me back within minutes. Robert, I cannot stress enough how important it is that Emma be present. Margaret was very specific about this. Tell Emma that if she's not there, she forfeits her entire inheritance, and it's substantial. That got her attention. Fine, Emma texted an hour later. I'll be there. Thursday morning, I put on the same suit I'd worn to the funeral, drove into downtown Toronto, found parking near the office tower on Bay Street, rode the elevator to the 14th floor. Emma was already there, sitting in the waiting area, scrolling through her phone. She looked tan, rested, happy. She looked up when I entered. Hey, Dad. Emma, look, about the funeral. Not here. Jennifer's assistant led us into a conference room. Jennifer was already seated, a stack of documents in front of her, her expression neutral, but her eyes, when they met mine, sympathetic. Thank you both for coming, Jennifer began. I know this is difficult. Margaret was a dear friend, and I miss her terribly. But she left very specific instructions, and I intend to honor them. She opened the top folder. Margaret's estate is valued at approximately $2.8 million. This includes the house in Oakville, her investment portfolio, her share of Robert's pension, and a life insurance policy. Normally, in a case like this, everything would go to the surviving spouse, with provisions for the child upon Robert's death. Emma leaned forward slightly, interested now. However, Jennifer continued, Margaret had concerns, and she did something unusual. She slid a USB drive across the table. Before we proceed with the formal reading, Margaret asked that you both watch this video together. My hands shook as I plugged the drive into the laptop Jennifer provided. The screen flickered to life, and there she was. Margaret, my Margaret, sitting in this very conference room, wearing the blue blouse I'd bought her for her birthday last year. Her hair was pulled back. She looked tired but determined. Hello, my darlings, her recorded voice said, and I felt tears spring to my eyes. If you're watching this, it means I'm gone. Robert, my love, I'm so sorry to leave you. 42 years wasn't nearly enough. I couldn't breathe. Emma, sweetheart, I love you more than life itself. You know that. But I also know you. And I know that if I died suddenly, you might not prioritize being there. For me, for your father, Emma's face went pale. So I did something I'm not entirely proud of, Margaret continued. 6 months ago, I was diagnosed with a heart condition. My doctor gave me a few years, maybe more with treatment, but I had a choice to make. I could tell you both and watch you spend those years treating me like I was made of glass, pitying me, rearranging your lives around my impending death. Or I could live fully, normally, and prepare for what came next. My mind reeled. 6 months ago, she'd known. All this time, she'd known, and she'd protected me from it. I chose to live, Margaret said, but I also chose to prepare. And part of that preparation was this test. Emma, I know you love me, but I needed to know you'd be there when it mattered. That you'd put down your phone, your perfect life, your husband who I've never quite trusted, and be present for the people who love you. Emma's hands covered her mouth. Robert doesn't know this, Margaret continued, but I set up a monitoring system, Doctor. Patel at Toronto General has instructions that when I die, and I will, probably from this heart condition, possibly soon he's to call Robert first. And then we wait. We wait to see if Emma comes. If she drops everything and flies home to be with her father in his darkest hour. If she puts family first. The video paused. Margaret's face froze on the screen, eyes locked on the camera. On us. Jennifer spoke. What happens next depends on what actually happened. Robert, I'm sorry you're finding out this way. Margaret made me promise not to tell you. She wanted. Jennifer's voice cracked. She wanted your grief to be genuine. She didn't want Emma to have any reason to doubt that this was real. I couldn't speak, couldn't move. So, Jennifer said quietly, did Emma come to the funeral? No, I whispered. She was in Mont-Tremblant, posting photos from a resort pool. Jennifer nodded slowly, sadly, and pressed play. Margaret's face came back to life. If Emma came, video Margaret said, if she dropped everything and flew home and stood beside you, Robert, then everything goes to both of you as planned. She gets her full inheritance, no conditions. Emma sagged with relief. But if she didn't come, Margaret continued, and her voice hardened. If she made excuses, if she prioritized a vacation or a business trip or anything else over being there for you, then the terms change. Jennifer handed me a document. I scanned it, the words swimming. In the event that Emma Morrison fails to attend my funeral or be present within 72 hours of my death, I read aloud, my voice shaking. The following provisions take effect. The house in Oakville, all investment accounts, and my life insurance policy, totaling approximately $2.8 million, go entirely to my husband, Robert Morrison, with no obligation to leave any portion to Emma upon his death. Emma Morrison will receive a sum of $1,000, with the following note, this is the value you placed on our family. I hope it was worth it. Emma stood up so fast her chair fell backward. You can't do this. She can't do this. It's a legal will, Jennifer said calmly. Witnessed, notarized, ironclad. I helped her write it. Margaret was of sound mind and body. She had every right to leave her estate to whomever she chose. Dad, Emma turned to me, tears streaming down her face. Dad, please, this is insane. You can't let her do this. I was sick. Ryan and I were both sick. And the storm, and you posted photos from a resort pool, I said quietly, while I was eulogizing your mother. It wasn't like that. The post was scheduled earlier. I forgot about it. And you called me when I asked you to come home. You heard my voice. You knew I was alone, grieving, planning your mother's funeral by myself. And you chose champagne and infinity pools. I was scared, Emma sobbed. I couldn't handle it. Death scares me. Funerals scare me. And Ryan said what? She stopped, eyes wide. What did Ryan say, Emma? She looked down, he said. He said there was no point in rushing back. That you'd understand. That Mom was already gone, and being miserable at a funeral wouldn't change anything. And he'd already paid for the resort. And the inheritance, I said quietly. Did he mention the inheritance? Emma's silence was answer enough. Jennifer cleared her throat. There's more on the video. Margaret's face filled the screen again. She looked directly into the camera, directly at Emma. Sweetheart, if you're hearing this part, it means you didn't come. And I want you to understand why I'm doing this. It's not about the money. It never was. It's about priorities. It's about showing up for the people who love you, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, even when your husband, who I suspect is controlling you more than you realize, tells you not to. Emma was crying openly now, makeup streaming down her face. I've watched Ryan isolate you from us for 3 years, Margaret continued. Subtle things, missing Christmas because of work, skipping our anniversary dinner, always having a reason why you can't visit, can't call, can't be present. And I've watched you change. My bright, loving daughter becoming someone I barely recognize. Someone who posts her perfect life online but can't pick up the phone to tell her mother she loves her. My chest ached. I'd seen it too, but I'd dismissed it, told myself Emma was just busy, just building her new life. So this is my final gift to you, Margaret said. A wake-up call. Choose wisely what you prioritize. Because family, real family, the people who love you unconditionally, is all that matters in the end. And if you've lost sight of that, then no amount of money will fill the hole it leaves. The video ended. The conference room was silent except for Emma's crying. I loved her, Emma whispered. I loved Mom so much. Then why weren't you there? I asked. She had no answer. Jennifer stood. Robert, the estate is yours. Emma, I'll have my assistant prepare your check for $1,000. It should be ready early next week. Wait, I said. Both women looked at me. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. Saw the girl who used to bring me dandelions and call them flowers. The teenager who cried in my arms when her first boyfriend broke her heart. The young woman who'd walked down the aisle 3 years ago, glowing with happiness. And I saw who she'd become. Saw Ryan's influence in every excuse, every priority shift, every missed call. Saw my wife's wisdom in creating this test. But I also saw Margaret in Emma's eyes. Saw the possibility of change. No, I said finally. I won't do this. Emma's head snapped up. Dad? Margaret wanted you to learn something. To wake up. But she also loved you. And so do I. So, here's what's going to happen. I turned to Jennifer. Can the will be contested or modified? Not the will itself. But you could choose to gift Emma money from your inheritance if you wanted. No, I said. Not gift. Earn. I looked at Emma. Your mother left you $1,000. You'll get exactly that, as specified. But if you want more, if you want to prove that you've learned something from this, then you need to show me. And her memory. How? Emma whispered. Move back to Toronto. Not with Ryan. By yourself. Get your own apartment. Find a job, a real job. Not whatever online influencer thing you're doing now. Come to Sunday dinners. Be present. Be family. Do that for 1 year. Genuinely. With no expectation of inheritance. And then we'll talk about your mother's will. Maybe I'll leave you everything when I die. Maybe I won't. But you'll have earned the chance to find out. Emma stared at me, tears still streaming. Ryan will never agree to that. Then you have a choice to make, I said. The same choice your mother left you, your husband or your family. An easy, comfortable life built on missed funerals and Instagram likes, or a real life built on showing up. Jennifer was watching me with something like respect. Robert, are you sure about this? Margaret spent 42 years making me a better man, I said. The least I can do is honor her last wish. Not by punishing our daughter, but by giving her a chance to become who she was always meant to be. I stood and walked to Emma, put my hands on her shoulders, looked into her red-rimmed eyes. I love you, sweetheart. Your mother loved you. But love isn't enough if you're not willing to be present for it. So choose. Choose who you want to be, and know that I'll be here, waiting, hoping you choose us. I left the conference room, left Jennifer to handle the paperwork, left Emma sobbing in her chair. That was 3 months ago. Emma left Ryan 2 weeks after the will reading. He'd refused to even consider moving to Toronto, told her she was being manipulated, that her mother had been controlling her from beyond the grave. When Emma insisted, he showed his true colors the way Margaret had suspected he would, and the divorce was filed. She got an apartment in Toronto, a small 1-bedroom in the annex, got a job at a publishing house, entry level, nothing glamorous. And every Sunday at 5 o'clock, she shows up at the house in Oakville with groceries and helps me cook dinner. We talk, really talk, about Margaret. About the years Emma lost to Ryan's control. About grief and regret and second chances. Some Sundays she cries. Some Sundays we laugh. sharing memories of Margaret's terrible singing voice and her obsession with true crime podcasts. Some Sundays we just sit in comfortable silence, the way I used to sit with her mother. Last week, Emma brought wildflowers, dandelions, actually, and put them in the vase by Margaret's chair. "I used to pick these for you," she said quietly. "When I was little. Do you remember?" "I remember everything," I told her. "I'm sorry, Dad. For all of it. For not being there when you needed me. When Mom needed me." "I know, sweetheart. Do you think she'd be proud of me?" Now, I thought about Margaret, her wisdom, her fierce love, her understanding that sometimes the hardest lessons are the most important ones. "I think she'd be proud of the choice you made," I said. "And I think she's been proud of you all along. That's why she pushed you, because she knew you were capable of more." Emma nodded, wiping her eyes. "Will you really leave me the inheritance? After the year?" I smiled. "Ask me in 9 months." "But Emma, the inheritance isn't the point. It never was." "I know," she said. "I know that now." We cooked together that night Margaret's famous lasagna, the recipe she'd perfected over 30 years of trial and error. Emma set the table with Margaret's good china, the set she'd inherited from her own mother. And for the first time since Margaret died, sitting across from my daughter in the home we'd built together, I felt something like peace. Margaret's final gift wasn't the money. It was the truth. And sometimes the truth costs everything. But sometimes, if you're brave enough to face it, it gives you back what you thought you'd lost. My daughter, my family, my hope. Margaret would be proud. And that's enough.